Well, the future doesn't look so bright in the new sci-fi movie 2067. Climate change has ravaged the planet, forcing people to use artificial oxygen that's doing more harm than good to save the human race. Two men must travel through time to find a cure. Watch this.
We received a message from the future.
The future? This is a time machine?
The people who sent the message must have found a cure.
Do you really believe I'm going to save the world?
You're old man, believe it?
You may be humanity's only chance to find the cure.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Brian Kwanten is one of those men, and he joins me now. How are you? How are you doing?
Keeping my head above water, Jackie. Yeah, it's kind of try and look at the positive sides of life and try and I think it's forcing us all to dig a little bit deeper.
Set up the scene for us. What is the world like in 2067? I mean, I gave, the audience an idea in my lead-in, but just kind of take us into where we are in this movie.
Yeah, sure. So by the year 2067, the Earth has been ravaged by climate change, and humanity, as we know it, is forced to live on artificial oxygen. And there's a very mysterious illness that's slowly killing the world's population. And the only hope comes in the form of a message from the future. And it says, send Ethan White. And Ethan White is this underground tunnel worker, the most sort of unlikely hero of sorts. And he's sent to the future where he must face sort of imminent and unknown dangers, as well as the very real possibility of never returning home.
And this movie has everything. There's mystery, there's action, there's, there's so much. What for you made you say yes to this?
Well, I love sci-fi movies that come from a character-driven standpoint. And for me, this was that in spades. Seth wrote me a beautiful kind of introduction letter of sorts to sort of get me involved in and he'd been writing this and sort of percolating on this idea of us destroying the world for the last sort of 8 years.
It plants a seed, right, for people who don't take the climate change crisis seriously. You see something like this and you see what could be.
Climate change for some people just seems too much of a outlandish sort of idea. But if you sort of think about your place in the world, that's sort of what we hope to sort of get across too, that there is change that we can elicit, and there is a ripple effect that we all have.
You say you love that this film is character driven. Tell us a little bit more about your character.
So Jude is sort of Ethan's, non-biological brother, and the conflict between them and the love between them is very much sort of inescapable. And he's a survivor. And he's had to learn to sort of do many nefarious things in order to survive. And, without giving too much away, even his relationship with Ethan has its own sort of ulterior motives.
How did, the wildfires in Australia, where you're from, impact your approach to this role?
Well, we just wrapped before those wildfires. Look, Seth was very sort of adamant that this is it's as much a climate thriller as it is a sci-fi movie, and he really wanted to put a stamp on the fact that we have to change things now before it is going to be too late.
Well, I want to talk about a couple of other projects that you have in the works. Loveland.
But Loveland was an incredible movie shot by sort of Ivan Sen, who was a real visionary Australian filmmaker. And that's sort of his comment again on where we're going as a society in terms of love. The connection to an individual and how much we're moving away from connection with conversation with emotion, and we're parlaying that into connection with machines, with devices, and how does one find love in a loveless world?
Well, I want to let everybody know that 2067 is available in select theaters, on digital, and on demand right now. Ryan, thank you so much, and stay safe and sane out here.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you, Jackie. Wonderful interview.